Ah, yes, the great mistake, the one we're taught from the cradle, whispered by well-meaning fools and screamed from the billboards of a world desperate to sell you a cure for a disease you don't have. The mistake is this: believing you must add something to yourself to become worthy of desire. Another layer of charm, another zero in the bank account, another witty story polished to a mirror shine. You are told to build, to accumulate, to become a grand cathedral of accomplishments, so that one day she might wander in, admire the stained glass windows of your personality, and decide to pray at your altar. It's a lie, a beautiful, comforting, and utterly soul-destroying lie. The man who is chaste, the man who becomes a beautiful sickness in a woman's mind, is not a cathedral. He is a quarry. He is not the finished statue of David. He is the block of marble from which all statues are possible, and therefore none are necessary. He has not added, he has ruthlessly, painstakingly subtracted. He has chiseled away the need for her applause. He has sanded down the desperate craving for her laughter. He has taken a hammer to the pathetic, pleading boy within who screams, "See me, validate me, tell me I am enough." And what is left? Nothing. A void. A sacred, terrifying, and utterly magnetic emptiness. In the old, forgotten corners of Wallachia, they used to tell a story, not of vampires, but of something far more unsettling. They spoke of the Silent Prince, a boyar who inherited a land plagued by gossip, betrayal, and endless scheming. His predecessors had tried everything. They gave speeches, held feasts, made promises, and executed traitors. The chaos only grew. But the new prince, he did nothing. He sat on his throne, carved from the wood of a lightning-struck oak, and he remained silent. Days bled into weeks. His court would whisper, plead, and shout. They brought him news of invading forces, of famine, of courtly intrigue. He would listen, his eyes as deep and still as a frozen lake, and he would nod, just once. Then, silence again. At first, they thought him a fool, an imbecile. But soon, a strange thing began to happen. His silence became a mirror. The treacherous saw their own plots reflected in his stillness and grew paranoid. The loyal saw a deep, abiding wisdom, a strength that needed no announcement. The desperate projected their hopes onto him, believing his silence was a sign of a grand, inscrutable plan. He did not have to rule them. His emptiness did it for him. He became the vessel for all their desires, all their fears, all their narratives. He was the blank page on which they wrote their own salvation or damnation. This is the first and most brutal truth. The world tells you to be a fascinating book filled with thrilling chapters. But a woman worth the chase is not looking for a book to read. She is looking for a silence to fill. She has 1,000 stories of her own, a symphony of chaos and longing playing in her soul. She doesn't need your noise. She needs a space for her own echo. Your carefully constructed personality, your hobbies, your 5-year plan. These are just furniture. And the more furniture you cram into the room of your being, the less space there is for her to move, to dream, to project. The man who is truly, lastingly desired is an empty room with a single window overlooking a storm. She steps inside, not because the room is beautiful, but because the view is terrifying, and the silence within is the only place she can truly hear it. This is the cold-blooded art Lacan hinted at without ever drawing a map. The objet petit a, the cause of desire, is not the thing itself. It is the gap, the lack, the piece that is missing. By making yourself whole, complete, and self-assured, you paradoxically seal the very crack through which her desire might enter. You become a perfectly polished sphere, and her longing, like water, simply rolls off your surface. To become the void is not to be passive. Oh no, It is an act of supreme, savage discipline. It is the discipline of the monk in his cell, learning to starve the ego. It is the courage of the Kierkegaardian knight of faith, who makes a leap into the absurd, trusting not in a predictable outcome, but in the power of the abyss itself. It is to sit with your own monstrous loneliness until it becomes less a monster and more a quiet, familiar pet. A recent series of studies emerging from the digital ether between 2023 and 2024 observed something fascinating in our hyper-communicative age. They found that in the realm of online dating and social media, profiles that were slightly ambiguous, that left gaps in the narrative, generated significantly more prolonged and obsessive interest than those that laid everything bare. They called it narrative completion theory. Our minds are wired to solve puzzles, to close loops. An unfinished story is a psychological siren song. A man who is a complete, well-documented biography is a closed case. A man who is a single, haunting, unanswered question, he is a life's work. So I ask you, sitting there in the glow of your screen, with the low hum of the 21st century buzzing in your ears, what are you so desperately trying to fill? What is the wound you are trying to cover with the cheap bandage of another's approval? And what if the only thing you have to offer, the only thing she truly wants, is that beautiful, terrifying emptiness you've been running from your entire life? She does not love you. She loves the ghost she has dressed in your skin. Have you ever walked past a shop at midnight? One of those old, forgotten boutiques that sell porcelain dolls or bespoke mannequins. You press your face to the cold glass, and there, under a single dust-caked bulb, a figure stands, perfectly poised. Its painted eyes stare into the middle distance, seeing nothing. It wears a beautiful suit, tailored to perfection. Its expression is serene, untroubled by the rats skittering in the alley or the lonely wail of a distant siren. And for a moment, you feel it. A strange envy, an admiration for its perfect, unfeeling stillness. Congratulations. You've just understood the second truth. You have seen your own ideal form. Because she, the one whose attention you crave like a drug, does not want a man. Oh no. A man is a clumsy, sweating, insecure thing. A man has fears. A man forgets to take out the trash. A man has a past, a regrettable haircut in a high school photo, a moment of weakness he replays in his mind at 3 a.m. A man is a messy, biological, and ultimately disappointing reality. What she wants is a mannequin, a beautiful silent figure she can place in the window of her soul and dress in the finery of her own imagination. She doesn't love you. She is in love with her own capacity for love. She is in love with the story she is writing. And you, my friend, are not the author. You are the pen. You are the canvas. You are the marble block. And she is Pygmalion, falling in love not with the living thing you are, but with the perfect statue she is carving out of you. The ancient myth has it all wrong. The artist's love doesn't bring the statue to life. The modern chase requires the man to become more like the statue, silent, beautiful, and accommodating of her fantasy. Every time you are withholding, every time you are distant, every time you retreat into that sacred void we spoke of, you are not pushing her away. You are giving her space. Space to project. Space to imagine. Your silence isn't empty to her. It's filled with the profundity she wishes to find. Your unpredictable nature isn't a flaw. It's the thrilling, untamable wilderness she believes she can be the first to map. You are a Rorschach test. She looks at your amorphous, withdrawn shape and sees a butterfly, a god, a monster, a father. Whatever it is she needs to see, whatever is missing from her own life. And she calls the inkblot love. This is the meaning of the gilded cage. Her gaze, her attention, her desire. It feels like freedom, like coronation. It feels like you are finally being seen, but it is a cage. A beautiful one, to be sure, with bars of pure gold and a velvet floor, but a cage nonetheless. The moment you try to be a man instead of a symbol, the bars rattle. The moment you reveal your own messy human needs, the gilded paint begins to chip, revealing the cheap iron beneath. Nietzsche knew this. He wrote, "Everything that is profound loves a mask." He understood that the surface is not a lie, but a necessary truth. Your mask of cold indifference, of serene detachment, is what allows her to believe in the profound depths she imagines underneath. To take off the mask is to kill the magic. It's to turn on the house lights during the final, heart-wrenching scene of a play. Suddenly, you're not Romeo. You're just an actor in makeup, sweating under the lights. And she is not Juliet. She's just a spectator who paid for a ticket and now feels slightly cheated. The cold-blooded man understands this instinctively. His power comes from never, ever breaking character. He serves her a fantasy, and the cost of the meal is his own authenticity. It's a quiet, monstrous sacrifice. To be loved forever, he must agree to never truly be known. Think of the strange, almost pathological phenomenon of limerence. Modern psychology confirms it. The initial, obsessive stages of attraction are fueled by a cascade of dopamine and norepinephrine, neurologically akin to obsessive-compulsive disorder. A 2025 paper on effective forecasting and mate selection noted that the human brain in this state doesn't just perceive the object of desire, it actively creates them, systematically exaggerating their positive traits and inventing new ones whole cloth to fit a pre-existing ideal template. Her brain is literally photoshopping you in real time. Your coldness, your distance, is the greatest artistic tool you can give her. It prevents the raw, unedited footage of your humanity from ruining her masterpiece. You are perpetually in post-production. There is a strange, bitter liberation in this knowledge, isn't there? A fragile hope. You are freed from the exhausting burden of being perfect. You don't have to be the hero. You just have to provide the silhouette of one. You are released from the impossible task of satisfying her because you realize she can only be satisfied by her own fantasy. Your only job is to not get in its way. You are a stagehand in the opera of her desire. It allows you to watch the whole drama with a kind of detached amusement, like a god watching mortals play out their little tragedies. It is a lonely power. The power of the mannequin in the window. Seen by all, touched by none. Which brings me to a little riddle for you. A question to carry with you into the quiet hours. When she looks at you with that fire in her eyes and whispers those three little words, who precisely is she talking to? The flawed, breathing man sitting in the chair? Or the perfect, impossible God she is building in her head? And more importantly, which one are you more terrified of disappointing? The only thing more tragic than not getting what you want is getting it. Here's a joke for you. What is the most successful marketing campaign in human history? Happily ever after. 3 words that have sold more lies, broken more hearts, and built more prisons than any tyrant's decree. It is the finish line that is also a cliff, the trophy that is also a tombstone. We are told the goal is to win her, to conquer the heart, to secure the affection, to finally hear that yes. We see the chase as a problem to be solved, a mountain to be summited, and once at the top, we expect a majestic view, eternal sunshine, a sense of peace. What a quaint little fantasy. The truth is, the summit is a barren, windswept rock with no oxygen. The view is just the terrifying drop back down. The chase is the thing. The wanting is the lifeblood. The arrival is the death, in its most potent, obsessive, world-altering form, is not a state of being. It is a sickness, a beautiful, exhilarating, life-affirming fever. And what do you do with a fever? You don't cultivate it. You don't frame it and hang it on your wall. You burn through it. The sickness is the story. The cure. The cure is just a return to the dull, gray health of the mundane. The man who makes women chase him forever understands this in his very bones. He is not a prize to be won. He is the horizon. He is the perpetual motion machine of desire. His genius lies in his absolute refusal to be caught. Imagine a master greyhound bred for the track. Its muscles coil like steel springs. Its eyes are fixed on the lure. That fake mechanical rabbit zipping just ahead. The dog is a portrait of pure, focused life. It is beautiful. It is perfect in its purpose. Now, what happens if the machine breaks down and the dog finally catches the rabbit? Does it feel triumph? No, it feels confusion. It sniffs the cheap fur and plastic. Its tail gives a tentative, disappointed wag, and the fire in its eyes dies. The meaning is gone. The race is over. The beautiful animal is now just a confused dog in a field of dirt. You must be the mechanical rabbit. Your purpose is not to be caught, but to keep the race going. Her desire for you is not a testament to your worth. It is a testament to her own vitality, her own hunger. By giving in, by becoming the caught rabbit, you don't just betray your own mystique. You insult her hunger. You rob her of her race. You kill her greyhound. This is the great swinging pendulum that Schopenhauer saw hanging over all of existence. We swing from the pain of wanting to the boredom of having. The cold-blooded man has simply learned how to sever the rope just as it swings towards boredom. He chooses to live in the exquisite, vibrant pain of the wanting, both his and hers. He makes a home in the tension. There is an old mariner's legend, a whisper among the men who sailed the Black Seas off the coast of forgotten islands. It's not about the sirens, you know, the ones who sing to lure men to their deaths on the rocks. It's a sadder, stranger tale. It tells of a single siren who sings the most beautiful song ever heard. But her song is not a weapon. It is a question. She is eternally lonely. And her music is a call for a soul brave enough, clever enough, to navigate the labyrinthine rocks and reach her shore. But here is the curse. The moment a sailor succeeds, the moment his boat scrapes the sand of her hidden beach, her song will die in her throat. Her purpose, the call, the longing, the beautiful, heartbreaking question of her music will have been answered. And in being answered, it will be annihilated. She will turn to sea foam. Her magic dissolved by its own success. The only way for her to exist is to remain forever out of reach. Her greatest fear is not loneliness, it is arrival. This isn't just poetry, it's brutal neurology. A 2024 neuroimaging study on anticipatory affect demonstrated that the brain's reward centers, the dopamine pathways that make us feel alive and motivated, fire far more intensely during the anticipation of a reward than during its consumption. The chase for the prize is literally more satisfying to our primal brain than the prize itself. We are addicted to the hunt, not the kill. The man who gives himself over completely, who texts back in seconds, who lays his soul bare and offers commitment on a silver platter, is offering a dead rabbit. He is offering the shore. He is offering the end of the dopamine hit. He is, in essence, offering boredom. He is offering the cure. And who in the throes of a beautiful fever dream wants to be cured? This is the chilling liberation of the third truth. You must abandon the idea of winning. Let go of the finish line. Your goal is not to be her lover, her husband, her partner. Your goal is to be her beautiful sickness, her magnificent obsession, her unanswered question. Your power lies not in your presence, but in your perpetual, elegant, and maddening retreat. So go on, I dare you. Prove me wrong. The next time a woman is caught in your orbit, when the chase is at its peak and the fever is high, give in. Give her everything she thinks she wants. Let her catch you. See what's left of her desire and of you when the hunt is over. See how quickly the goddess becomes a critic and the hunter becomes a house pet. Go on. The quiet, boring hell of happily ever after is waiting. Your power doesn't come from her attention, but from your peace in its absence. A storm breaks on a winter's night. The forest howls, a thing of fright. The village bolts its doors up tight and prays for morning's saving light. But in a cabin on a hill, one candle burns, completely still. The man inside has drunk his fill of a silence that the world can't kill. He does not fear the wind's mad race. He does not plead for God's good grace. He has made the storm his hiding place and wears its darkness on his face. For all this time, I've let you believe this is a strategy, a clever, cold-hearted game of chess where you manipulate the pieces of desire to checkmate a queen. I have spoken of tactics, of mass, of becoming a void or a horizon, and there is a truth to that. But it is a surface truth. And we are no longer swimming in the shallows. The fourth truth is the anchor that holds all the others in place. It is the bedrock beneath the theater. The detachment of the man who is eternally chaste is not, in its most potent form, a performance for her benefit. It is a genuine, non-negotiable state of being, forged in a furnace you must enter alone. It is the strange, terrible peace that comes after a war with yourself, a war you both won and lost. His power does not come from pretending not to need her. It comes from the soul-deep, bone-weary, and liberating realization that he truly, honestly, doesn't. This is the man who has walked into the desert of his own solitude, not for 40 days, but for years. He has stared into the abyss of his own loneliness, his own mediocrity, his own unlovable corners, and he has not flinched. He has sat with the monster of his own insignificance until he learned its name and then learned to call it brother. He has built a home in the wreckage of his own expectations. There's a story they tell about the Desert Fathers, the old Christian hermits. A young man went to an elder, Abba Poemen, and said, "Father, I am tormented by my thoughts. How do I find God and peace?" The old man didn't give him prayers or scriptures. He just said, "Go to your cell. Your cell will teach you everything." The secret wasn't in finding God. The secret was in the cell. The secret was in the unadorned, four-walled silence where you are forced to confront the absolute poverty of your own being, stripped of all social roles, all applause, all distraction. You go there not to find something, but to endure the nothing. And if you can endure it long enough, a strange alchemy occurs. The nothingness stops being a threat. It becomes spacious. The loneliness stops being a wound. It becomes a kind of quiet, private garden, a place no one else can enter, and therefore no one else can desecrate. This is the birth of what modern psychology, in its sterile fashion, calls a differentiated self. It's the ability to remain yourself, to hold your own center, even when caught in the emotional gravity of another person. You are not a piece of driftwood tossed on the waves of her approval or disapproval. You are a lighthouse. And here is the secret of the lighthouse. It does not shine its light for the ships. It shines its light because its fundamental nature is to withstand the storm and contain a fire. The ships are free to use that light to navigate, or they are free to smash themselves upon the rocks. It is of no consequence to the lighthouse. Its purpose is to be. This is the source of that fragile hope I mentioned, the strange liberation. It is the most profound freedom a man can ever know. It is the freedom from the game. You are no longer playing to win her. You are no longer afraid of losing her. Her presence is a pleasant, warm afternoon. Her absence is a cool, quiet evening. Both have their own beauty. Both are temporary. Neither defines the landscape of your soul. She feels this on a primal level. A woman is attuned to the frequency of need. She can smell desperation like a shark smells blood in the water from miles away. And when she encounters a man who is not broadcasting that frequency, who is operating on a completely different bandwidth of self-possession, it is both terrifying and utterly mesmerizing. He is the only solid thing in a world of shifting desires. He does not bend to her emotional weather. He is the weather. This is the altar of the unseen wound. Every man has a deep wound. The wound of the absent father, the wound of the first rejection, the wound of not being enough. Most men spend their lives trying to cover this wound, to hide it, to find a woman whose love will be the magic balm that makes it disappear. The cold-blooded man has done the opposite. He has excavated his wound. He has cleared the land around it. He has accepted its permanence, its ugly scar tissue, and he has built an altar right in the middle of it. He has made his greatest weakness the source of his most unshakable strength. He doesn't need her to heal him because he is no longer at war with his own brokenness. So ask yourself in the quiet of this moment, when the phone doesn't ring, when the house is empty, when you are left with nothing but the sound of your own breathing, what is that feeling? Is it the frantic panic of an addict cut off from his supply? Or is it something else? Let me whisper the question differently. When was the last time you were utterly alone? No screen, no book, no future plan, no past regret, and it felt not like an exile, but like a homecoming. You stop being a man begging for love and become the very law by which love is judged. Come closer. Let me tell you the final secret. The one the poets are too afraid to write, the one the philosophers dress up in impenetrable jargon because to say it plainly is a kind of sacrilege. Everything we have discussed so far, the void, the gaze, the chase, the wound, these are merely the four pillars of the temple. They are the foundation. They are not the God that is worshipped within. The final truth is about what happens when you inhabit that temple for so long that you are no longer the priest. You become the architecture. You become the silence. You become the ghost. You stop being a man playing a game of love, and you become the law by which love itself is measured. This is the final, terrifying apotheosis. This is where the man of cold blood transcends the need for a chase entirely, because he is no longer an object of desire, but the very principle of it. He is the ghost of the father that Lacan spoke of, the absent symbolic authority, the dead king whose laws still govern the living. Think of it. The sacred void you cultivated is no longer an empty room. It is now an empty throne. And an empty throne holds more power than one occupied by a mere man of flesh and blood, because anyone can project their idea of a perfect king onto it. The gilded cage of her gaze is no longer a prison for you. It has become her entire universe. You are the fixed point, the North Star. You do not move. You do not call out. You do not burn brighter or dimmer. You simply are. And she, like a lost sailor, navigates the chaotic seas of her own life by your constant, cold, and distant light. She measures all other men against your impossible stillness. They are flickering candles. You are a celestial body. The beautiful sickness of the chase is no longer a race you are running. It is a pilgrimage that others make towards you. They will never arrive, of course, because your location is not a physical place. It is a symbolic one. You are Rome, and all roads of her desire lead to you, even if she never sets foot in the city. And the altar of your unseen wound, it is no longer a private place of refuge. It has become a holy site. Your acceptance of your own darkness, your own solitude, has sanctified you. You have performed the ultimate sacrifice, not of a lamb or a goat, but of your own need to be loved. In giving up the desire for love, you become the definition of what is worth loving. The ancient Romans had a concept for this, the lares and penates. They were the household gods, the spirits of the ancestors. They weren't grand, thunder-wielding Olympians. They were silent, unseen presences, a mask on a wall, a figurine in a shrine. They didn't perform miracles. They didn't answer prayers, but their ghostly authority dictated everything. The family's morality, its duties, its fortunes. To defy them was not to risk a lightning bolt, but something far worse. To become unmoored from your own identity, to break the symbolic chain that gave your life meaning. This is the ultimate state of the cold-blooded man. He is the household god in the corner of her mind. He doesn't need to text her, to call her, to see her. His power is magnified by his absence because his presence has become symbolic. He is the ghost in her machine. When she makes a decision, she unconsciously asks, what would he think? Not the man, but the idea of him. When she meets another man, she measures him against the law that your ghost represents. He is found wanting. They are all found wanting. This is not a power you wield. It is a state you inhabit. It is cold. It is lonely. It is the power of a dead star that still pulls planets into its orbit. There is no joy in it. There is no passion. There is only a vast, silent, and unshakable order. You have won the game so completely that you have ceased to be a player. A sociological paper from late 2025, studying the bizarre dynamics of symbolic influence in our hypervisible world, concluded with a haunting line. In an age where every life is documented, curated, and broadcast, the only true authority belongs to that which is powerfully, intentionally, and meaningfully absent. You are no longer the supplicant asking for her heart. You are the standard against which her heart is judged. You are no longer the lover, pleading for a space in her life. You are the silent, invisible architecture of her life itself. She will spend the rest of her days chasing your ghost, never realizing that the thing she is chasing is a law she has helped to write, a god she has helped to create. And so we arrive at the final precipitous choice. It is the question that lies at the end of this dark road. After all the pain, the solitude, the discipline, what do you want to be? Another hungry guest, fighting for scraps of affection at the chaotic banquet of love? Or will you be the table itself, the silent, solid, unmoving foundation upon which the entire feast is laid?